at Polaris Razor. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back here to the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Got Kyle Busch standing by. Kyle, I got a question for you. You've been at the Cup level for a very, very long time now. You're one of the winningest drivers in NASCAR history. What's the biggest changes you've seen, Kyle? I mean, in the sport as a whole, especially in the last decade, man. I feel like it's completely different now. I mean, obviously we've got, the playoffs and we've got stage racing and all this other stuff, but I mean, just a competitive aspect in a business aspect and finding sponsors and things like that. I mean, what's the biggest changes and the biggest shift we've seen so far at that level? Because I mean, we went from having, you'd have a sponsor, all season long to now, you got sponsors that are in these, 5-10 race blocks and things like that. I mean, how has everything shifted? I mean, I feel like it's just a massive change over the last 10 years.
Yeah, the part of it is just that the expense of the sport is way higher now than what it used to be years ago, and not many of these corporations are willing to spend much of their advertising budget on race cars and racing, and so that's why you kind of see the smaller blocks of sponsorship dollars that you don't see full season sponsors. But fortunately for me, I got the best sponsors in sports, most namely the M&Ms. I mean, they're my primary guys, even though you see different colors and you see Snickers or Skittles or M&Ms or, another brand of M&Ms on my car. It's all the same brand. It's all the same company. So, I have 30 races, 32, including the non-points races that M&M sponsors. And then I have Interstate Batteries, which has always just kind of been the cornerstone of Joe Gibbs Racing, who also still sponsors the 18 car. So Interstate's been there for 27 years now and on the 18 car, and Mars has been there since I've been there in 2008. And, it's really cool to have our group the way that we do. But, some of the big changes that we've seen in the sport is just inflation, obviously. People, whether it's the drivers or whether it's the crew members, the crew chiefs, everybody's making more money now than what they used to. I heard numbers of back in the mid 90s where teams were running off of $3, $4, $5 million bucks. And that's because the drivers weren't making a ton of money. Crew chiefs weren't making a ton of money. Crew guys weren't making a ton of money. The parts to buy the cars weren't as expensive, so the cars were cheaper and all that sort of stuff. And nowadays, budgets to run a race team are somewhere between $25 and $30 million. So it's crazy the way that everything's inflated so big. And that's namely why you're seeing sponsors that aren't doing whole seasons.
Yeah. Well, all that being said, I mean, obviously you've been really, active in the business aspect. You've got your own team now, and you started out, Rowdy Energy. I mean, it's part of that, I got a feeling, at some point, you've got things like Rowdy Energy when it becomes, financially, successful, then you can kind of self-fund certain things to a point, right?
Yes and no. I mean, to me, the Rowdy Energy thing is, I've got my Rowdy Energy drink. Some people have said, "What's Rowdy Energy?" And I'm like, "Come on, it's not that hard." Anyways, I started that just because I feel like I wouldn't call myself an energy drink connoisseur by trade, but I drink an energy drink a day, and I'm kind of getting into my Tom Brady years, and I felt as though I wanted to start drinking something that was a little bit better for you, a little bit more natural. And so we have all natural ingredients and natural sugars and things like that. One of them is actually a sugar-free drink, and so it's sweetened with fruit sweetener, just fruit sugars and stuff like that. So it's all natural. But anyways, the concept behind that is people are like, well, you're making tons of money, you're a sports guy, blah, blah, blah. You don't need any more money. Yeah, sure. You're right. I don't. I'm not doing this for making money. I'm doing this for something that I enjoy drinking and that other consumers would enjoy drinking. That's a healthier choice that's out there for them to be able to choose to buy to, sustain their energy needs while also doing something healthier for their body. So, that's where this has all kind of come from and what it stems off of. And, the long-term play, whether or not I do sponsorships down the road or whatever, that's to be seen. But, right now I'm spending, millions of dollars of my own money to put this out there to get it going. It's definitely not a money maker, and everybody's already asking me to do sponsorships. I'm like, people, you don't understand. This is my own money right now.
Yeah.
Like, it would basically be like me taking my wallet out and just giving you money to sponsor and putting this name on there. Like, that would be brand recognition, not sponsorship. But maybe one day we'll get to that point. It's certainly an interesting model on how this whole drink business works. It's very challenging. All the big dogs seem to have a David versus Goliath mentality where they kind of hold out spots and buy up shelf space and things like that to keep the little guys out. So we got to work really hard where we're at right now, and hopefully we can do so, get into some stores later on this year, and especially the start of next year. People can find this stuff a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, only a couple questions left here, but do have to ask you a little bit about eNASCAR. I know I'm a franchised owner, and that's kind of how we got connected through iRacing, but you've kind of stepped in there with JGR and their program. How important do you think eNASCAR is and sim racing is to the sport of NASCAR? I mean, we've got these kids that are super talented now in their teenage years, some of them competing for, hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know what I mean? And it makes kind of NASCAR racing, accessible to anybody. I mean, what's your take on this whole sim racing and eNASCAR thing, Kyle?
I think it's quite interesting, with last year it kind of starting, and this year it's really kind of taken off. There's a lot more viewer around it. There's a lot more hype around it. I know many of the other drivers as well have been getting involved and starting their own teams and stuff like that. So I think that like anything in racing, you can spend more money in order to go faster, and I think there's a way that you can really screw this up for the little guys, if you will, with the setups and how to make the cars go faster and what sim life really is versus real life and the racing aspect and all that. But past the complicatedness of it, it's definitely pretty cool. Seeing William Byron, who started in the sim world and just driving on simulators and then getting into real cars and driving them and being good at it. I don't know that you see a whole lot of crossover like that very much, but I think Bubba Wallace took out a couple sim racers last year to go do some Legends car testing and getting them in the real thing and seeing how they did and stuff like that. So it's quite interesting though, and I think the sim world, we use it an awful lot. It's a tool for us that we use on the Cup circuit where, we have these $1 million simulators, not just the little rigs that people have at their home that you can use. It's just a different way, just a tool that we use to try to make ourselves better, our cars better, and our setups better. And I think that that's a interesting part to our sport. But a lot of sponsors have been getting involved with it as well too, namely Rowdy Energy. We're involved. We've got Malik Ray, who was leading the Daytona race and doing really good, and unfortunately sped on pit road for the final stop, so that kind of messed up his day. But it's cool to watch these guys and see what they're all doing, and seeing the different teams that are involved in it as well.
Yeah. So one final question before we let you go. Obviously, you won the Cup Championship last year, but you also won the WWE 24/7 Championship. Now, I'm a big wrestling fan, man. We got to ask you, how was that as far as career highlights go? And how did that all get put together with the WWE?
Well, that's pretty fun. It was really a unique opportunity. We heard that they were in Nashville, and I was like, Brexton would like that. Let's go take Brexton and go over there. And so we called around, and they heard it was me, and they were like, hey, how would you like to be a part of the show? And I was like, well, okay, what does that entail? So they told me about this piece of the 24/7 thing, and I was like, yeah, sure. So we kind of did some talking with them about what we'd like to do and how it all turned out. And so it's kind of funny how the whole situation goes down with R-Truth, and he's running around with this 24/7 title. And, if you're able to catch him in the right spot and you got a referee in the vicinity and you can take him down and pin him, then, you can get the 24/7 title. So myself and Michael Waltrip, we got teamed up together, and we were able to get in the right position at the right time and take R-Truth down. And I was a 24/7 champion for about an hour. And then I guess while celebrating and doing some of the photo shoot and stuff like that backstage, and doing some media stuff around it, he came back up behind me and was able to take me back down and take the title back. So that was kind of short-lived, but it was really fun in the meantime of being able to just get out there and see the show. Brexton enjoyed it, being able to watch the wrestling that was happening, and then to have me be a part of it was cool.
Yeah, no, it was, as a guy that watches WWE pretty regularly, and I watch it with my daughter, actually, and all of a sudden you pop up on there, and everybody, and there's celebrities all the time that are in there, and then all of a sudden you win, and it was like, oh, wow, that just happened. I think it caught a lot of people by surprise. I guess those crossover opportunities got to be huge for not only you, but NASCAR, right?
Yeah, definitely. It was fun. We were in Nashville for the championship awards banquet, just coming off the championship there, and then we heard they were in town and went over there, and they had us be a part of the show. So it was really cool. And crossover is always good between different sports. I've been to football games before. I know my brother goes to the hockey games at the Vegas Knights, and obviously having some guys all over that have different interests. I think Chase Elliott's into baseball, stuff like that. So it's always cool to have us kind of all around the place, and being in different sports sections of the U.S.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, I appreciate the time, my friend. I know you got Family Day on tap, and you're getting ready to hit this Western swing up, I guess, in full swing. But thanks for the time, and thanks for coming on the show, man.
Absolutely, no problem, man. Appreciate it. Good talking with you, and hopefully we can turn our season around, get back heading in the right direction. You're going to be the forefront of that.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Well, not every day you get Mr. Kyle Busch on the show. Big thanks to Kyle and his team and good friends there at Joe Gibbs Racing for helping set that up. Kyle, definitely, he's part of the eNASCAR program there with iRacing. Obviously, just killing it at the NASCAR level, having some struggles to start out the year. But if anybody's going to bounce back and be a threat for the championship, it's going to be Kyle Busch. One of those interviews, not very often, you get a chance to have a guy like Kyle Busch on the show. Very, very thankful for that, and you start looking at his career arc, and he's a guy who'll drive anything, loves being behind the wheel of race cars, but he's parlayed that into, even at a young age, becoming a team owner and putting together programs for younger drivers. And, now he's entrepreneur, business model. He's got businesses. It's really, really amazing to see what he's been able to accomplish, not only in his NASCAR career, but as a motorsports businessman in general. Not often do you see that, that forward thinking, and the investments that he's done and really building things for the future. And when when you get a driver who can do all that and you can see things, and not only that, but he kills it on the track. I mean, he's that guy where he shows up and, you expect him to